I'm the CEO of China Biomedical and Technology Education Association, which I founded 20 years ago. Welcome to World IPF 2025. Our panel is Patenting Biotech and Pharmaceutical Invention, Navigating the Complexity. In today's rapidly advanced technology landscape, biotech and pharmaceutical stands at the forefront innovation. As researchers and scientists uncover groundbreaking discovery, and the importance of securing intellectual property rights for this invention become paramount. However, navigating the complexity of patenting in this highly specialized domain research requires a unique set of challenges. So for understanding the intricacies of patent law to ensure compliance with the regulatory framework, stakeholders must definitely maneuver through a maze of legal, ethical, and scientific considerations. So this journey is essentially not only to protect the fruits of science labor, but also to foster an environment that encourages continued innovation and development. Join us as we delve into the multifaceted world of patented biotechnology and pharmaceutical inventions and explore the strategy to overcome the hurdle along the long way. Today we have 6 esteemed experts in this panel. It's Mr. Michael Fuller from Connaught Martin, USA, and Dr. Manny Roy from Coolidge LLP, USA, and Mr. Divya Shekhar from Dependence and Dependence, India, Mr. Avi Garg from Les Orbis, India, and Mrs. Suman Lata Prasad from LS Devi Corporate, India, and also Mr. Vadim Kuala from NCO Association of Pharmaceutical Company. And our panelists will introduce themselves first, and they will tell you their expertise, preponderance, and records, so you can observe their expertise, and after when we open the Q&A, it will be very easy to learn from them and ask the right question to benefit yourself for this conference. And today we will also penetrating the issues such as jurisdiction-specific complexities, subject matter eligibility, and patentability criteria, and enablement requirements, written description, regulatory and policy interference, and also AI impacts on this innovation and other IPR set regarding marketing, legal aspects, law enforcement practice, and also some court cases sharing.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lata Prasad. I'm a managing associate in LS Davar. It is one of the oldest Indian origin firm in India. We have around 200 people and we have 6 offices. We handle matters in patent, copyright, trademark and design. My technical field is biotechnology, and I have been handling drafting, prosecution and opposition for applications in the field of life sciences, biotechnology, chemistry, pharma. And since IT is always in a growing phase and this is a learning field, so this is actually a very good opportunity to keep on learning forever, because with science grows, IP also grows. So I am looking forward also to have an interactive session so that we can have many questions and answers and look forward to it. Thank you very much.
After we have learned the expertise of our esteemed panelists, now we will start today's discussion on patenting biotechnology and pharmaceuticals. First, we would like to discuss the complexity on subject matter eligibility and patentability criteria. As the natural product has faced a heightened scrutiny, master patent must be transformed beyond natural process. Diagnostic method is particularly challenged after the post-Mayo era. May our panelists share their situation in their own country, please.
Thank you, Divya, and thank you, Avi. Now I will continue on to what has already been discussed by Ms. Divya and Avi. The further non-patentable eligibility criteria that comes is Section 3H, which actually bars the patenting of invention directed towards method of agriculture or horticulture. India being an agricultural country, the whole idea was, since majority of people are farmers, they should not come under this. So what the Act specifically says that if the claims are directed towards a method of agriculture, like producing plants or increasing the fertility of a soil, such claims are non-patentable subject matter. So the way around that has been suggested is you need to actually show in the claims that there is a substantial human intervention which is leading to the solving of an agricultural problem which is not possible under natural circumstances. Another section that is Section 3I. Section 3I covers patenting of invention directed towards surgical, medicinal, curative, prophylactic, diagnostic, therapeutic or other treatment of human or animals that render them free of a disease or to increase their economic value or their products. The claims generally they are usually method of surgery, or it can be reworded as method of increasing the immunity of a person or curing a disease. That includes both humans and animals. Others can be method of detecting a marker in a biological sample. So these type of claims are strictly not allowed by Indian controllers. So they usually say that you can claim for a product which can be used for the treatment or a medicinal instrument which is used for surgery, but a method which is actually leading to treatment or a diagnosis are not allowed. In one of the landmark cases that happened very recently last year by the Madras High Court, the case was Chinese University of Hong Kong and Sequenin versus the controller of patents. In this particular case, the claims were directed towards method for determining the amount of fetus DNA in the maternal blood. So what actually was happening, was a non-invasive procedure in which maternal blood was taken out and it was determined how much of fetal DNA is present in the sample. The patent application was initially rejected by the patent office, stating that since it leads to diagnosis of a disease, so because of which if further tests are being done, genetic aberration, if it is present in the fetus, it can be determined. They rejected the application. The matter came before the Madras High Court, but they gave a very different point of view on how to determine whether a claim falls under Section 3I or not. So what they said was, you cannot interpret Section 3I as to be very inclusive and as to be very exclusive. So what they said, like generally if it is an in vivo method, so it cannot be such that if all the methods are being done in vivo, then they fall under the Section 3I, and if the method is being done in vitro, then they are patent eligible. It should not be like that. But then they also said that you should actually determine what the method is doing. Eventually, as per section, it should lead to a diagnosis of a disease. But however, if it is ending to a step where further screening and further testing is required to confirm whether the person is suffering from a disease or a treatment step is required, then it ends there. It is patent eligible because a further step is needed. It can be considered as an initial screening step. However, if the method ends in confirmed diagnosis of a disease to which a treatment is required, then indeed it is a method of diagnosis but is specifically not eligible for a patent. And then the next subsection that we have is Section 3J, which are plants and animals or whole or part thereof other than microorganisms, and essentially biological processes for production and propagation of plants and animals. So under the provisions of Indian Patent Acts, animals are non-patentable. Under any circumstances, whatever be the case, even if they are genetically modified, they are non-patentable. For plants, they have provided a separate IP provision that falls under the Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers Act, where if you have produced a genetically modified plant, you can get a patent on that. That not exactly patent, it is a registration. And it includes seeds, varieties and all different kinds of plant varieties that are possible or you have created. But The exception here is microorganism. Isolated microorganism, as we already explained, they are considered as discovery, so again not patentable. However, if they have been genetically modified, genetic modification usually happens with human intervention, and hence they are eligible for patenting. Then comes to what exactly is an essential biological process. Any biological process that is related to propagation of plants which can happen in nature, they are again non-patentable. Something like inherent back crossing happening between the plants, or during pollination, the plants, they have got structure in such a way that they cannot self-pollinate, and somehow modification has been done. These are still considered as an essentially biological process and hence non-patentable. But per se, let's see any plant variety in which male sterility has been introduced at the genetic level so that its biosexual flowers, they do not self-pollinate. Since for this process to be done, a substantial human intervention is required, hence such processes are patent eligible. Patents can be granted for such processes because they are not considered as an essentially biological processes. And then we have another unique section 3P, which is related to traditional knowledge. So any invention which has an effect on traditional knowledge, or which is actually an aggregation or duplication of the knowledge which has been traditionally known in India, again it is a non-patentable subject matter. Generally, claims direct towards composition, which are extracts from the plants known to have such traditional medicine or all these values, they are non-patentable. Or any composition comprising even the parts of the plants. So the way around for that is you should actually show how your invention is different from what is traditionally known, or your human intervention made the composition or any product which was not known to the, which was different from the traditional knowledge, and it had an advantage over it. So these are almost like the three of us, we covered 8 different subsections of section 3, which all fall under the category of life sciences, which make an invention non-patentable. So that is why we have a bit of less granting rates, because apart from being novel and inventive and industrial applicability, all claims, they have to go through the scrutiny of maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of these subsections before they are considered for a grant by an Indian controller. Thank you.